Hi there, it's Professor Monty again, and let's look at some rules for multiplication and division. So here's how we go about it. First of all, you multiply or divide the numbers together. Ignore their signs for now. Some authors will say multiply or divide their absolute values. It just means ignore their signs. 2, if the signs are the same, if they're both positive or they're both negative, the answer is going to be positive. If the signs are different, one's positive and one's negative, the answer is going to be negative. So let's look at some examples and kind of work through this. So I start off 2 times negative 5. Remember, ignore the signs, just think 2 times 5. Now, since the signs are different, the answer is going to be negative. So whatever I get here, I'm just going to get negative. And so 2 times 5, of course, is 10. So my answer is negative 10. Now remember, multiplication is just repeated addition. So here's why that works. 2 times negative 5 means we're adding 2 negative 5s together. And remember, when you add things with the same sign, you keep the sign. So this is 5 plus 5, and then keep the negative if we're using the rule of addition, which is also negative 10, so that's going to chat what we already had. So again, you multiply two numbers with different signs, you're going to get a negative answer. All right, let's look at this one. I'm dividing two numbers now. Either we're going to write it with the division. Oftentimes, they're going to write the division this way, where it's just a line in the middle, one on top and one on the bottom. But either way, 6 divided by negative 3. Okay, so we're going back up to rule 2 that says if the signs are the same, the answer is positive. So I'm going to ignore the signs. I'm going to do the 6 divided by 3. The answer is going to be positive. I don't need to write the positive, but 6 divided by 3 is 2, and that's my answer. Again, a bit of why that's the case. We saw in an earlier video, negative 6 is really negative 1 times 6. Negative 3 is negative 1 times 3. The negative 1 over the negative 1 just cancel out. Now I just have 6 divided by 3, which is 2, which is my answer. Okay. So anytime you have a negative divided by a negative, the negatives cancel out, it becomes positive. A negative times a negative, the negatives cancel out, you get a positive as well. So if you multiply the same sign, either both positive or both negative, the answer is positive. Last example, negative 4 times 7. Again, different signs, multiply the numbers, the answer is negative. So it's going to be negative 4 times 7. Well, 4 times 7 is 28. Negative 28, that's my answer. That, again, is using rule 3. If the signs are different, the answer is negative. Now, be careful. The rules here with the signs are different than the addition rules. Notice here, the smaller number was negative times the positive. It's still negative. Here, the smaller number was positive times the negative. It's also negative. So the size of which one's positive and which one's negative does not matter with multiplication and division. So be careful of these rules, practice them, and you'll get them pretty quickly.